Welcome everyone to the Comic Couch Review. Today we're going to be talking about Ant-Man, and I'm here today with Devlin.
Hello.
Jilly.
Good day.
Boy.
Hello.
And I'm JamesMan. So, we're going to talk about Ant-Man, as I said.
Did you think you could stop the future? You're just a thief!
No. I'm Ant-Man. I know. Wasn't my idea.
And, I think we all generally liked it. I don't think any of us disliked it, so.
It was good.
Yeah. Good startup.
End review.
Okay. Yeah, end review. Dun dun. Quick opinions from me. I like the movie. I really like the action scenes. I like the look of it. I think it's like probably one of the more visually pleasing Marvel movies. A lot of color, a lot of ingenuity with the action scenes that we see later on. I really liked it. Couple things that could have been worked out for me that I wasn't a particular fan of, but we'll get into that deeper on in the review. Not a bad movie. Definitely a good entry in the Marvel Universe and a pretty high point, I would say, in Phase 2. Dev, let's hear from you.
Well, for me, I don't think it's one of the best Marvel movies. It's a good Marvel movie, and it's good fun. It's a great summer movie, and I think it's probably, even though I don't think it's the best Marvel movie, I think it's the closest they've come to making a comic book out of a movie. This really, to me, feels like a comic book. It's got Edgar Wright's fingerprints all over it, and I would have loved to see what he'd have done in the end. But, you know, what we got was great, and it pleased.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Thank you, Dev. We'll talk about that later, actually. We should talk about how
I was about to say it pleased me, but then I was like,
In what
maybe not.
way?
It pleases me.
All right, Jilly, what'd you think of it?
I was actually pleasantly surprised with the movie. I had some pretty low expectations. Wasn't really too excited about the movie going into it, and you know, as Dev says, I wouldn't put it up there as, you know, like Marvel's best movie or even like one of their top 3 or 4. But you know, it is one of the, in my opinion, is one of the better Marvel origin movies. There could have been some things that could have been different, and like he said, it did have the Edgar Wright feel to it. But you could tell that there was a lot of changes and stuff, you know, of course, after the whole, you know, thing happened and whatnot and whatnot. But, you know, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. You know, had some good laughs in it, you know, some good action scenes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. How about you, Boy? What do you got to say?
I went into it with weird expectations because I'm a big Ant-Man fan, but I didn't expect the movie to be all that great. I don't know, for whatever reason, I got the kind of feeling just from previous Marvel movies that they've kind of been on a rough streak for me, at least. But I was pleasantly surprised. In my opinion, it's one of the best Marvel movies, which contradicts other people's opinions, obviously. But I thought it was it's in my top 3 right now. Yeah, I liked it. I liked the whole dynamic between Scott Lang and Hank Pym and stuff, and that was one of the things I was terrified of, with Hank Pym being older, but I think I enjoyed it, and I hope he gets a sequel.
Wow, all right, high praise. That's good. It's good we have like one really person with high praise on that movie. Okay, how do we feel about Scott Lang in the movie? Let's have a discussion.
Well, I think before we go any further, we should say we're going to be talking spoilers.
Oh yeah,
right from the start,
yeah.
just in case anyone still hasn't
It's a
seen
review
it.
of the whole movie.
There will be lots of spoilers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, your review was the last 3 minutes.
I'll make sure. Your review was the first 3 minutes. I'll make sure to have a spoiler in the video title and in the thumbnail because we don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't seen the movie. All right, you guys good? To move on to Scott Lang.
Yes.
So,
And how
what
he
do we-
dies at the end.
oh my god! Right? I like
Put the
Paul Rudd.
spoiler. Yes.
I like Paul Rudd a lot. I think he's a pretty charismatic actor, and I thought he was fine here. He had the charisma down. There's certain points where I just like, okay, you're kind of wearing my patience. And it was one particular scene that bothered me with how we had the scene with Hope and Hank kind of reconciling and everything. It was a pretty sweet scene. And then you have Scott in the background who just makes it awkward. And I get that that's a joke, but I was like, okay, that's a little unnecessary.
I actually love that, but
Really? All right. I thought he was fine in the role. I really liked him, and I liked Scott Lang. I was totally for Hank Pym being the main lead of Ant-Man before the whole news came out that Hank Pym would be old and crusty and Scott Lang would be the main face. But I really like what they did, and I'm happy we have Scott Lang in this universe.
Yeah,
certainly a different type of hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Paul Rudd did a fantastic job. Actually, his character is probably one of the best parts of the movie that I really enjoyed. So.
Yeah, I really like that he's so drastically different compared to the other Marvel heroes. Yeah. Specifically because we start out with him as a criminal.
I love.
Yeah, it's great not to have another scientist superhero.
Oh, I know.
In the MCU. Just to break away from that.
I mean, even Thor was a scientist. It's not magic; it's science.
Yeah,
it's a science you can't understand yet. Yeah, that was a really nice change to it. What'd you have to say, boy?
I like the fact that for what he could do, they explained it. The fact that he's a cat burglar type guy, so he could jump and do all that kind of parkour type stuff, and you could obviously see that he kind of trained at that, and you could see that he'd fought in prison a little bit, so he had some basic fighting skills. But then I loved, like, there's that, you know, the scene when he jumps up onto the guy's gun as it's being shot.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like a gif of it and stuff, and if you look closely, you actually see him like put his head down and stuff, and it's as if he's like tired and kind of worn out, which I really love. The fact that it shows that he's not like Captain America. He can't run really far and really fast all the time. He's just a normal guy. He gets pretty tired out easily because he isn't a superhero. He's just a dude who's been given this suit and some basic training.
Isn't that kind of like the basic rundown of why people like Daredevil so much?
I guess.
Just a normal guy and he gets tired. And
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice breath of fresh air compared to where everyone else is like a god or can turn into a giant monster and not get tired throughout this, big like 40-minute fight scene.
He's Batman.
Yeah. I was just thinking of remembering Batman Begins, where he gets his ass handed to him by Scarecrow. Like his first night out, he's Alfred!
Setting fire and everything.
My mind went there. Scott Lang was a very cool addition. I'm actually really excited to see what they do with him in Civil War and compare him to all the other heroes that are in it. That'll be.
I'm actually quite scared that. Okay, this is a Civil War spoiler, but it happens in like the second issue. That the character Giant Man is killed by.
No, they're not going to do that. No, he is
the Thor android.
No,
or Goliath. I'm very scared that that's how they're going to use Ant-Man in this. That he's going to grow and then just get a hole punched through his chest.
They're going to make him the scapegoat or whatever to kill off.
Yeah.
I hope not. I would love to see an Ant-Man sequel, and I think especially if this makes good money, I think Marvel's going to want to make another Ant-Man movie with Scott Lang in it. So,
well, it's funny comparing it to, like, say, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, even before that movie came out at Comic-Con, they announced they had a sequel already. And with Ant-Man, it's like, we've heard talks, but we haven't had a confirmation yet. And it's been out for a week here in America. So I don't know if, like, there is even a plan for an actual sequel at this point. So maybe they will go down that route. I'd hate if they would, but I don't know. We haven't heard any confirmation on an Ant-Man 2. And it could very well be because they're still waiting on the box office total. Because right now it's doing very well. But they're probably just waiting on the final numbers before they say anything.
I reckon it'll come in around Kingsman numbers, which made 400 million worldwide, and I think
that's respectable.
Kingsman's getting a sequel. If Ant-Man makes that, I think for an Ant-Man movie, that's great.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get it. I hope we get a sequel because I would really hate if he was the what is the character's name that was killed? It wasn't Giant Man, was it? Goliath, yes.
Yeah.
I'd really hate if that was his role, and that's what they've been building up to. They gave him his own solo movie just to get a hole in his chest at the end.
I don't think they're doing the Thor android. I hope not.
No,
it wouldn't make that much sense. Right after Ultron, Tony Stark's like, let's make another robot, but let's give this one the powers of Thor because that's a great idea. So
well, we're pretty sure Vision isn't in Civil War.
Is he not?
It might be, but
I would think he would be because
He's on the new Avengers.
Oh yeah, he's on the team.
we are getting off topic here.
Yeah, we are a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting very off that.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on then. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next character. The
We
next
don't
bigger
want Scott
character.
Lang killed. That was the point of
Yes,
that
that is the point of that. Hank Pym and what they did with him, and so drastically different from the comics. Michael Douglas's performance, I really like. I mean, I've never seen Michael Douglas give a bad performance, so I guess it should have been expected. But it's very well done. I like what they did with the character. Completely unexpected from, walking where I thought like he was going to be, the main hero of the movie. That's what, some people thought for so long when we had an Ant-Man movie announced. But
Yeah.
I like what they did with him, and I was very pleased. And plus, having a little flashback scene, too, was kind of nice when he was younger. So
That was so well done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was.
well done. I was
I
blown away by it.
We're specifically
I
talking
was-
about the scene with Hank
With
Pym
Janet.
and Janet.
At the very beginning, yeah.
Which was completely out of the blue for me. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that if we had any chance of seeing Wasp, it was just going to be Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah.
So seeing the original Wasp was great. I was scared going in this because there were rumors that Hank Pym was going to turn out to be the villain.
yeah.
And given that Hank Pym is my favorite of the three Ant-Men, I really didn't want that to happen.
No.
Through all that Ant-Man has been given in the comics, he's had a rough run,
Yep.
especially Hank Pym. None
Hank
of
Pym
that.
just
That's-
can't catch a break.
Yeah, it's unfair. Come on, Marvel.
Now he's like, well, spoilers, I guess, for Rage of Ultron, but they've turned him into...
No one's going to read that story.
Yeah,
It's
they've,
fine.
they've turned him into Ultron. Now he's a villain, sort of. And it's like, they're just like, you know what? Best way to get rid of Hank Pym, let's just send him into space as a robot.
See, Rage of Ultron is crazy because
We're going off
it's supposed to be sent... Yeah, we're going
Yeah.
We can't make this the comic show.
I really liked,
Yeah.
I really liked the CGI they did at the beginning as well. The very beginning
That was
of the movie.
amazing.
Yeah, that
Oh, on his young face?
Yes.
Yeah, when he
Yeah.
looked like 40 years
Marvel
younger.
have been a little hit and miss with aging and de-aging. I thought
Yeah.
that the aging in the Winter Soldier
awful.
for Haley Atwell was a little
I thought it was
off.
really bad.
I thought it was dodgy, yeah. I saw a lot of
Yeah,
people
it's a
saying
little
it's
wrong.
amazing. It's like, it looks a tiny bit weird.
But
Well,
this-
the problem always comes with the aging makeup is like you always notice it like on the sides of their mouths almost. You kind of see like
Yeah.
the makeup, like the face, the whatever they put on them is like being kind of pushed off on the sides to like make an extra layer of skin. I guess it's to make them look fatter, but it looks really
And they always
off
have
and unnatural.
They always have 30-year-old hands.
Yeah. But this was well done. Very well
Oh yeah,
done.
it's
I
just-
think
Yeah.
this might be the best in any film. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen better than this. Especially when we compare it to the likes of
Tron Legacy.
and
Terminator.
do you remember young Patrick Stewart in X-Men 3?
Yes. And that was
Oh.
the same company
Oh.
that did that.
No, that was X-Men Origins.
Origins.
Yeah.
No, he's young in that as
Was
well.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he and Magneto go to
that was
recruit
even
Jean.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Him and
was-
Ian McKellen's face.
That was like...
Yeah.
To see how far that company's gone with their technology and stuff, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, they did a really good
They've
job in
improved
the
their
movie.
craft.
Yeah. I really like a switch up they did with the Hank Pym character in the movie is that they went from how he was like a raging, well, how he kind of like beat his wife at a certain point. I like how they kind of replaced that part of the character
It
and
was
kind of.
never supposed to be like that.
Oh, that's how it came out to be.
Us Hank Pym
That's
fans know
how-
that wasn't supposed to be a slap.
That's how it came
The
out
writer wrote it. Hank Pym didn't mean to do it. Someone made him
Artist
do it.
didn't like the story. That's where it came from. The artist didn't like the
That-
story and just didn't want to go back and do actual
But here's
work.
the thing, that is
So
now
just
canon.
left
It's
it.
canon now. But I like that they
Canon.
replaced that, and instead of having that happen, we had another thing with his family turmoil with Hope. I actually preferred that. I think that was that was way better, well done than
Yes.
doing that kind of story would have been.
Yeah.
And it translated a lot better on screen than
Abuse.
I don't think many people could feel remorse for a character for like if Hank Pym was still young and he beat his wife. I don't know
Yeah.
if we could get the main audience, the general audience, to appreciate that kind of character.
Yeah, only the diehard Hank Pym fans would be happy with it.
I don't like the fact that the character performance was great, but I don't like the whole And I guess it's because it's overused. I see it a lot. It's like, oh, I'm going to keep this secret from you because I'm protecting you, kind of thing, and I'm not going to tell you until, something important happens or something like that. And it's like, in my opinion, that if you would have told her this maybe 5-10 years ago, it probably wouldn't have been any different than how it played out.
Okay.
Also known as the CW effect.
That's very true. We can use that as a springboard onto Hope, who I was really not a big fan of Hope in the movie. She comes off as, to me in the movie, she comes off as the kind of character that is specifically there to complain half the time, provides some sort of conflict. Because throughout most of the movie, I recognize that the first 2 acts, there really isn't a whole lot of major story conflicts. So you have to throw in minor conflicts, such as, Hank and his Scott Lang and his family, Hank Pym and his family, You have to sort of have that to fill in the time gap until we get to the heist at the end. And I thought a lot of her character was kind of just used as a means for that end, to just have some sort of conflict going on. I really didn't like her. I didn't like her until near the end.
So in other words, the CW effect.
Again, yes.
Yeah, she has 2 arcs, the first of which is to go from hating her father to loving him, and the second is to go from hating the protagonist to loving him.
That reminds me of something I didn't like. Was the random kiss at the end.
See, I can forgive it just because it led to what I thought was the best line in the film, with Hank Pym saying, "You're full of shit, Scott."
Yes,
Yeah.
That was a very good line.
I know.
It was funny. That was
I love
funny.
the fact that that's like the going away line he gives them, like at the end of the movie, like they've saved the day and they've done everything, and then like as the hero's walking away, Hank Pym just shouts, "You're full of shit, Scott."
It was a very funny scene, but I didn't see any romantic tension at all through the entire movie between them. And I don't know if it was just because the actors, I don't know. I didn't feel it at all in the story. I had no idea that happened, so it surprised me too when it did
could
happen.
see it coming a little bit near the end of the movie. I didn't know if they were going to do it, and I hoped they weren't going to do it, but they did. But it didn't seem to have too much lasting effect, I don't think.
At least they played it off.
Yeah.
At least they had that great line.
I wasn't a huge fan of Hope as well. She was probably one of the only negatives of the movie for me. I thought her hair looked dodgy at some point.
Geez.
It looked like a weird wig at some point. I'm not sure if it was a wig. And yeah, her characterization was a bit all over the place sometimes. Hopefully, if she is in a sequel or in another Marvel movie, because they have said the Wasp
definitely.
was going to be a big part of Phase 3, and I don't know if it's her as the Wasp or Janet is coming back in. I hope that they fix it out a bit more and have her more as a leveled character.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What do you guys have to think?
I wasn't a big fan of her character either, to be honest. I mean, I wasn't, I guess, as bad as, I guess, what you guys two think of her or whatnot, but I guess my biggest complaint about her is actually the hair. The hair just drove me crazy. I just... I know it's a silly thing to kind of like...
The bowl cut, man.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a silly thing to kind of like, be really kind of antsy about or whatever, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like it was real, I guess. Like, Buoy said, it kind of felt like a wig at some points, and it was just like weird looking. And
It in no way impacts my impressions of the movie.
No,
It's
the hair is just a
something
little
I
nitpicky
noticed,
thing.
and it put me off a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I hate Ant-Man because of her hair. Yeah, no, but that was one of my biggest things, was just her look. I think could have been better, because I mean she's Evangeline Lilly is a very attractive woman, so I mean, she obviously didn't need that wig. I don't think like the diehard fanboys would have cared if the look was a little different than the comics or whatever.
I would have.
Well,
They changed their hair.
in comic
Outrageous.
books. Hair in comic books usually looks really stupid.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine Norman Osborn's hair.
Oh, jeez.
His hair doesn't
like
make any
sausage
sense.
links on his head.
It's just lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't recall. Okay, I don't believe Hope. Did Hope have a bowl cut in the comics?
Who cares? Hope's a
No, Hope
Either
Van
way.
Dyne didn't. Janet did. Hope never did.
Okay, well, I guess that's
Yeah,
how they were
but
trying
and
to
it's
make
just a
up to
callback
Janet.
to.
At the same time, Hope's
Janet,
a
yeah.
villain.
Okay, that is true.
I mean, so this is not like comic book.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're fucking talking about hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt like
We've
they
got off
probably could have gone
topic
for a
again.
different style. We always go off topic on this, okay? It's fine because we're talking about Ant-Man, so we can go a little off topic because we're still technically on the topic. But yeah, the hair is weird. Moving on. I want to talk about this first, actually. Scott Lang's crew. What did you guys think?
They were
funny.
Okay.
I thought
police officer from The Dark Knight was there.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I could think of anytime he was on screen was his character in The Dark Knight, which took me away from him a bit. Like, look, Michael Pena was great. I thought,
Yeah.
you know, his explanations were brilliant.
I like in his explanations, he's like at a wine tasting and going to an art gallery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's just like us. He can't stop getting off topic.
Yeah. He's
See, that's why we keep going off topic, to make it relatable to the movie.
We want to be
Michael-
like Pina.
Michael Pena was gold in that movie. He was very, very well done.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be
T.I.
like
had
police.
one or two good lines, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Was T.I. the Dark Knight guy?
No.
T.I. is the
It's not.
black driver.
Come on, man, let's just all get back and relax for a minute. That was basically.
I particularly love the scene where they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna be there for Scott," and they pull up and all the cop cars, and they're like, "Back it up, yep, back it up, back it up, back it up." It's like,
Yep.
I was laughing pretty loud.
Yeah.
That felt very Edgar Wright-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of their mannerisms and the way they talk and it felt a lot like an Edgar Wright
A lot of like the
script.
cutaways felt really
Oh,
like
yeah.
his kind of stuff.
Although all of the explanations, although they feel really Edgar Wright, they were all done by Peyton Reed.
Were they?
Yeah.
So they
How
aren't
about that?
Edgar Wright at all. We're giving him all the
No,
credit.
It's a
that
guy
doesn't
trying to be
deserve.
Edgar
They weren't-
Wright.
They weren't even in the original script.
Huh. Well,
Wow.
they added to the movie.
Yeah, they did.
I liked them.
Yeah.
And we've never really seen any of that in the Marvel cinematic universe.
Well, it's like outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, we haven't
Yeah.
really had a character that had his own crew. I mean, you had Tony with Hogan and Pepper, but they were just kind of supporting
Yeah.
characters. They weren't really like, they didn't feel like a crew. They didn't feel like, they were helping at the plot.
Oh, Cap's got a crew now.
Well, yeah, he has a crew now, but in his, okay,
Cap's crew,
no, he didn't have
That's
a crew in Origin movie.
Cookie,
either.
Quartet. I guess there's more than four.
He had a crew for 5 minutes in the first Avenger.
He had an entire battalion.
For 5 minutes. Okay, yeah, I like the crew. Definitely Pena is probably my favorite part about them. The other two are kind of forgettable for me.
Yeah, the Russian guy
I
was
enjoyed
kind of
them.
meh.
The
Yeah.
Russian guy was kind of The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Darren Cross, the villain of the movie, who plays Yellow Jacket.
I know I've definitely got different opinions on this character than
I like what they did with him. I do think he's probably one of the stronger Marvel Studios villains, which isn't saying a whole lot. But I do think he's definitely on that better edge where he's not Malekith level, but he's more like... I'd probably place him in the same area where I'd probably put like Ronan and Obadiah Stane from Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy and that. They have enough development and they do show signs of a character, but I don't think it was fully realized. Like, there's a lot of talk in the movie about like, oh, why didn't you choose me? Why wasn't I the successor or whatever? And there were a lot of missed opportunities, I felt like, where there is no
Flashbacks,
tension
stuff like
between him and Scott Lang at all.
Yeah.
There's no, like, rivalry, and there should have been there between
There was
them.
a little bit. There was a little bit near the end when he's like, "Your very existence is like insult to me" and all that stuff he was saying near the end in the fight at the end of it.
It feels like there should have been like a line like why did he choose you over me or something like that. There feels like there should have been like a mixture of jealousy in there too. It feels very underdeveloped, but I do think he's a stronger villain and his costume kicks ass. So.
Did anyone else sort of notice the parallels with Ultron and the
Mask?
father-son relationship.
Oh,
well,
no.
no, not even in the mask. The father-son relationship.
Yeah.
That relationship.
Yeah,
Especially the line where he asks him what he saw in him, and Hank Pym says he saw himself, and he says he shut him out because he saw too much of himself. That's pretty much exactly what Hank Pym does to Ultron in the comics.
Okay, so they brought that over.
Why
I didn't know
don't
that.
you love me, Daddy?
Yeah, I felt like kind of basically the same thing you did, James. I felt that the character was one of the better Marvel ones, but I wouldn't put him on like Loki level or anything. I think that the character was still a little shallow. I could have used a little bit more context between the whole, him and Hank Pym's past.
Yeah.
Other than just kind of a passing, oh yeah, I recruited you because I saw something special, yada yada, and then you didn't, you left me or whatever. That's kind of all we got, and so a little bit more context and a little bit more character development, because that's kind of what I really want out of Marvel's villains, is just more character development. Oddly enough, my least favorite Marvel franchise has the best villain, the Thor franchise. And so kind of the way they do, I know Loki is a main point in a lot of other points, and so he's just not in one movie. But kind of something, how like they kind of developed that villain in that movie, I like to see more in Marvel movies as well. But
there's a really odd scene in a restaurant at the start of Ant-Man with Cross and Hope. And it just feels completely out of place. Doesn't seem like it leads on to anything.
I don't even remember that scene.
It's just Cross sits down at a table. He talks about his morning yoga reflection, because everyone knows douchebags do yoga. And then he makes some smug comment about Hope and Pym's relationship. And that's it.
Oh yeah,
and
she's like, you're gonna succeed or whatever she said. I was a little bit happy about the character because he's playing stupid throughout the whole movie, and I'm sitting there, sitting next to my wife, and I lean over her and was like, if they make him be the kind of the dumb guy who kind of just like figures everything out because of the event at the end of the movie, I was gonna be pissed. But I kind of liked how he was playing stupid, throughout the movie, and he was like, knew that she was at the house or whatever, and kind of knew what they were doing the whole time, but he was kind of playing off as the rich guy who's got too big of an ego to realize what's going on around him. So I did like that part.
I did like Corey Stoll as the character. I always like Corey Stoll in the movies that I've seen him. Like, he was in a movie called This Is Where I Leave You, which is like, it was like a comedy type of deal.
I really like This Is Where I Leave You.
Yeah, and I really liked him in it. And he was also on House of Cards, and he's really great in it. So I was like, I knew that at least, even if it was kind of not a great character, he would have done well with the role, and I thought he did. There was something brought up near the end of the movie with him that I don't know if they alluded to at all in the earlier part of the movie, and I just felt like came out of the blue. It was it felt like a throwaway line. It was in the scene where they have the Hydra agents and they've captured Ant-Man. And Hope brings up, like, she says something about, like, the cross particles affecting his brain or something like that. Do you remember that?
And
Yeah.
they just kind of threw that in there and never addressed it again.
Was that ever addressed?
No.
Well, in the sense that it was kind of an ongoing plotline to some extent. Like, Hank Pym says how he can't put the suit on again because he's just worn it too much, and he does mention the fact that it does affect your brain and things. So they did mention a few times throughout the movie the fact that that's why he has kind of gone slightly insane, basically. And I saw that at least. He did seem, he wasn't quite all there, as what I would assume he used to be like. So they did mention it a few times, the fact that the Pym particles and I guess the cross particles as well do mess with your brain and make you go a little bit mad.
See, I just thought the oddness was part of his character, and so it's just because he was in contact with the particles.
Go ahead.
See, in the comics,
I guess so.
that's sort of always been a thing in the comics, because that's been the blame for why Hank Pym slapped Janet.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of goes
Yellow
back to my
Jacket.
whole developing the villain a little bit more. They kind of mentioned it, a few times with the movie, and then they had that whole, the particles are messing with your head. But it could have been, they could have done better with it.
It was never mentioned before with the character, and that's why I feel so out of the blue. Is that it was never mentioned about Cross having that or that happening to him.
It was.
They establish it with Hank Pym, but
mentions he says Cross doesn't realize that it messes with your brain or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's highlighted that
but Hank Pym does
because
mention.
he doesn't have the helmet.
Yeah.
Pym has specifically designed this helmet to prevent that, and Cross doesn't have the helmet.
Huh. Mm-hmm. See, to me, it feels like there's like a scene missing that was cut out. That would have properly better explained. Because to me, it felt like just passing lines almost.
Yeah.
And so when it was brought up as something that like was a major effect on this character, to me it felt like out of the blue. I don't know. You're saying that there were definitely moments mentioning it.
Yeah. It was
but
at some point when they were in the basement, I think, and Pym pulls Scott aside and tells him the whole deal. I think it's just about when Scott asks him why he doesn't put the costume on. And then he says, I would love to, but I can't because it took a toll on me. And then I think that's when he then goes into the fact that when Cross doesn't realise this, that the Pym does take a toll on your brain and messes with it and stuff.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, also because he can't put it on because he's like fucking 70. So no one wants to see that movie. That'd just be sad. Ant-Man in a walker. Okay. So that
grandpa.
So that's okay. So that is there. Go ahead.
I was just going to say how my thought of Cross as a villain contradicts
what did you
almost
think?
all of you. I think he's one of the best Marvel villains we've seen yet. I've got a really controversial opinion on Loki and the fact that I don't like him at all. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that was more just because the internet's ruined him for me. I'm not sure. I won't go into that because it has no place here. But yeah, I really liked Cross. I felt he had a motive. I felt his character was explained. Obviously, you guys don't, and but I don't know if it was just me seeing things that weren't there or something. But I felt they explained them well in his motives, and he had a motive, and he wanted to do well, but he was kind of going the wrong way about it. And he was I'm trying to not very good with the words. I liked him. I also liked the fact that Cross, like as Yellow Jacket, although Darren Cross is the character in the comics, but he's a massive purple fat guy basically. It was a completely new character, so they didn't have anything else to go on, and they were kind of just creating almost a completely new villain for the movie. And in that aspect, they didn't have any source material to go on. I liked it. I also liked the fact that he kind of mimicked Hank Pym as Yellow Jacket. The fact that Hank Pym became Yellow Jacket after he just went completely insane. And Cross was also going kind of insane. And at the end, you could see he was just going absolutely psychotic. Mm-hmm. And in that helicopter when he just puts his suit on. And throughout the movie, it's never intended that Cross is going to wear the costume at all until the very end, when out of desperation he just puts it on because he just wants to murder Scott. I really enjoyed him as a villain. Like that bit at the beginning when he just shoots the guy with the cross particles.
Oh yeah.
And then just wipes him up off the ground and flushes him down the toilet as if it's nothing. Mm-hmm. Like that, I felt showed his kind of mental instability.
Think of the lambs.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like you see him pause for a second and then he's like, okay, bring in 25C or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then
they just did 24C and they just bring in 25C.
I felt there's few moments you see in the movie where he does something and then you see him pause for a few seconds and just think about what he's done, and then he'll just go by it and he'll just continue on. I liked that.
Okay. All right, let's move on then to the quick little cameo that popped up during the movie. Falcon made an appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
nice
was
little
cool.
scene.
And I can imagine what Anthony Mackie was like when they asked him to do that. because he just loves being in these movies, and he really wanted to be in Age of Ultron.
A lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah. So I can imagine what they were like. Hey, we want you to be an Ant-Man. He's like, wow. And he's like a big superhero in it compared to previous movies where he's been like this lower guy. He's like the bigger character than Ant-Man to some respect. So
he's kind of like the Nick Fury of Phase 2. Is that he's appeared in like 3 of the movies so far.
Yeah.
I really, really, really liked that scene. Obviously, it was like the first scene that you really get to see Ant-Man in action against, someone else. So it's kind of a big deal. And it's just, I think it was, very well done.
Anything to say?
See, I had the scene spoil on me. I know you did too. But neither of us were expecting it to the extent that it was. I remember whenever I went into the cinema, I forgot that Falcon was in this. And after about 40 minutes, got this giddy surge of excitement where I was like, oh, Falcon's in this movie. He's going to be in it in like the next half an hour.
I knew he was in it because I saw it teased in the trailer. But yeah, I didn't expect it in that scene. Like, I was like, okay, he's just dropping into this Stark place. You'll probably see some Iron Man Easter egg. And then when you hear, like, that kind of remix of the Avengers theme, it was kind of an alarming type version of it instead of just a normal one. And it's almost as if the Avengers are the bad guys now, which I kind of liked. Which will be interesting to see that played out in Civil War, I guess.
Also, I think Anthony Mackie might be my favourite actor in the MCU at the minute.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I love him. I loved almost every film he's been in. And having him in all these roles. Also, I really like Falcon in the comics. It's good.
If only he can talk to birds.
It is pretty cool to get some of these lesser known superheroes out there as well, in other movies and stuff like that. So it is pretty cool.
Apparently he's going to have Red Wing, his Falcon, in Civil War.
Drone, though.
Oh, all right.
Isn't he going to be a drone, I think?
I don't know.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense than him magically out of nowhere being able to talk to birds. All right, yeah, it's a nice little scene. And speaking about how good the action was, the action in the movie overall was pretty well done, I thought. We're very different in comparison to the other kind of action fights we've had in the MCU.
And Thomas the Tank
his first time
included in the fight scene, so that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think his first time shrinking felt like it was wrote by Edgar Wright. I felt, especially going through the house party, where he's jumping on shoes and avoiding shoes. That felt like something Edgar Wright would write.
To me, that bit also felt a lot like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just me. I got that. Obviously, it was a much well done, a much better version of it. Because it was just...
it was a shrunken person dealing with typical household things.
It felt a lot like that, but that's not a bad thing. I enjoyed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And the sequel.
Classic.
Yeah, it was very well done, and I really like what they did with the action scenes. Especially, did you have something to say, Jilly, about the shrinking?
I think that's why I really like the action in this movie, because it's... it is different, and it's different because of the whole, they're shrinking, they're going back to, normal size, they're shrinking, going back to normal size, or whatever, and fighting, especially with, between him and Yellow Jacket, we're kind of going back and forth throughout the last act of the film. I really, really enjoyed, the Thomas the Train
Thomas the Tank Engine.
And I loved that sequence, even though I saw it in the trailer, and so I knew it was coming. I still got a good laugh out of that. It's just
I think my favorite part of that sequence was when they turn Thomas into a giant Thomas, he just crashes through the wall. That was great.
Yeah.
How much do you think that goes for on eBay? And how do you think you can afford it?
And he's like fighting on that set, and it goes to his daughter or whatever, and she's like watching it from the closet, watching the two like throw like little toy trains and stuff at each other, like blowing up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what would my reaction be if I was that little girl just kind of sitting in? I'd probably be like, this is cool,
yeah,
or something like that.
I love the fact
playing with action figures.
I love the fact that they made the action actiony, but also like it was funny at some points too. Like the fact that like when Yellow Jacket's like on the train tracks and he gets hit by the train, and like when you see it from his perspective, it's like impending doom, and then it zooms out, and it just like the track just kind of falls over a bit, and the train goes on its side, and it's like anticlimactic. And like I feel like that could have been done really badly, but I think they handled it pretty well, mixing humor with fighting.
Yeah, definitely.
Another example of the humor and action that I think maybe was my favorite action scene of the film was when they end up in the briefcase.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crash shouts, "I'm gonna disintegrate you!"
Oh yeah.
And disintegration by the Cure plays. That felt brilliant.
Yeah, that was very well done. I like how long the final fight went on, because I've always kind of had a problem with the MCU fights always kind of end, to me, anticlimactically. Like, there's always, like, the scapegoat that they use, something like that. But I really like how they handled the whole entire fight with Yellowjacket, and how there's that kind of, like, that false ending where you think he just got killed in the bug zapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he comes back later. I really like how they handled that. And yeah, the action, the set pieces are brilliant. Certainly playing the ability of Ant-Man to the film's benefit.
I mean, even with like when he was infiltrating, PIM Technologies, or whatever it was called. When he was like miniature and like the guards were shooting him, and he was like in the little mini thing of the cross, like his plantation, whatever there, and he's like, they see the bullets are like going through the buildings, whatever, and he's like, going over the miniature car and next to the miniature person and everything. I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. Okay. We want to move on now to the little after credits scene?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had two after credits scenes this time, which is very nice. After Age of Ultron had one, and that was,
and it was rubbish,
disappointing. Yeah. So it was nice to have two after credits scenes. The first one was pretty well done. It was because it promised, more things to come, like really cool that had been building throughout the film, and that was the reveal of Hope's Wasp costume
2.0.
Yeah, Wasp 2.0. What do you guys
looks
think?
Cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jelly.
It looks really cool. I think, like, because Buoy was like asking, or saying whether her or Janet will be in the next phase. I think it'll be her, just because obviously there he was like, this, maybe we're making this for you or whatnot, and they might do something with her mother, but I think she'll kind of be like the main Wasp, especially if Scott Lang continues to be the Ant-Man or whatever. They'll probably have that dynamic. Hopefully they'll explore like their dynamic relationship going forward or whatnot, maybe as a superhero team or whatnot.
Yeah,
I like the changes they've done to the Wasp costume, that it kind of resembles the Ant-Man costume in ways, color-wise.
Yeah.
But it still looks like it could, be its own superhero thing. And I think that really works with the whole, team dynamic that happens with the Ant-Man and Wasp. So that was a nice little addition, nice little change, I thought, from her traditional costume.
I enjoyed the flashback one, because it kind of like harkened back to the original Wasp costume that's red mainly with the black.
Yeah.
And although that is exactly what the Ant-Man costume looked like, they did it in a way that it looked really like the Wasp costume, while looking like it could just be as accidentally made like that as a female version of the Ant-Man costume, but with the wings and stuff. And then the future Hope version of it, it looked like the comics one where she has just black and yellow, but obviously the colours are slightly changed, but it is just a prototype, so maybe in the future they decide to do a paint over it and just black and yellow.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but the costume looks cool.
And we'll definitely, from what we heard, we'll definitely be seeing her a lot more in Phase 3, so that'll be cool. Hopefully, a lot of it will be her in the Wasp outfit, not her, managing Pym Tech or whatever. Yeah, it was really cool after credits scene. Then we move on to the second one,
which is
though it had Captain America and Falcon, and they found or seemingly maybe captured the Winter Soldier. It's not really explained.
No.
I don't really know how I felt about it. anticlimactic, because I thought a big part of Civil War was going to be, them still searching kind of for Bucky. Like, that would have been the opening scene, like how Avengers Age of Ultron had the opening scene with them in Sokovia. I thought we would have had an opening scene with them, chasing down the Winter Soldier. So to me, it felt kind of anticlimactic just to have it be an after credit scene for a completely different movie.
Although I read somewhere that might be a scene from Civil War,
Yeah,
and not necessarily like a setup
out
for
of the
it.
film.
Okay. Well, then why even have it?
Just because it.
Well, I reckon that'll be out of the way quite early.
Huh? What was that, Dev?
I'd say that part of the film, the hunt for Bucky, will be out of the film quite early.
Yeah, I feel so. I feel like that
inside
too.
half an hour, he'll be in captivity.
Yeah.
And I also got the feel that it wasn't just that whoever was in charge was keeping Stark from going. I think Stark knows at this stage that Bucky killed his parents.
Yeah.
And I think that might be why he's not coming, or why they don't want to tell him.
Okay. So it has been confirmed that it's going to be part of Civil War then?
Yes, it is.
Well, it's like, to me, that scene seems almost it seems completely out of place to the rest of the movie. I mean, yeah, you've got that line with Falcon going, I know a guy.
Yeah, I
Which
feel
is
like
cool.
That's the only reason they put that scene in there. They had to put something teasing Civil War, and they're like, well, this line teases Ant-Man, so let's just put that one in.
It feels like it reminds me of the scene from Thor: The Dark World where you've randomly got Lady Sif and Hogan seeing the Collector, and it's so bizarre, and it fucks with your senses because you're like, whoa, where's that coming from?
He's a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels so weird having that too, where, that scene specifically is really dark and dreary looking compared to how colorful the rest of the movie has been. So it felt really out of place, and I get why they used it though. So
although it sets the tone for what Civil War might be, and hopefully is, because I don't think we've really seen a dark Marvel movie yet, and I know people will hate, a dark movie, superheroes. Civil War, like, if they go anywhere near what the whole comic series is about, a lot of people die.
It should be dark.
So it should be dark, yeah. And I feel like they can probably do that. And it's a dark story. Captain America and Iron Man are, like, not buddies, and it's super friends.
I hope it starts the way the comic series started, with the friggin' children's elementary school being blown up because of superpowers.
Wow.
Someone online said, what if that is the Iron Man 3 kids' school?
Oh, Harley.
That would, because I think that would give Tony a lot of, even because in the comics Tony isn't involved in it at all. Like, he's a complete outsider to the attack.
Yeah, it's the
but if it were
Warriors.
New Warriors. They have gone to shit since Nova left them.
Yeah. Well, that would be cool, because it would be a way to bring that together, where the kid gets killed and the bombing that happens, and the mother's blaming him, because throughout the comic of Civil War there is, like, this mother who's first, like, issue or two, she's, like, blaming him for her death. Woman. Yeah, I know, but
and then
that would make sense though, because they would tie the universe together to have her be Harley's mom.
Yeah, she manages to get herself an executive position in S.H.I.E.L.D. in Civil War.
Yeah.
So really, if you want a position in S.H.I.E.L.D., just nag the shit out of Tony Stark.
Yeah, so it's a good pointer of where Civil War is going to end up being. And, I mean, hopefully they adapt a lot of the better parts of Civil War, because I like Civil War, but I hope they still spin out a little bit more. I hope they keep some of how graphic a lot of it was. I really hope they keep some of that in, and how dark a lot of it can be. But after credits scene, I thought could have been a little bit better. So what's our final score on the movie? Like, how do you all feel about it? Finally,
For me?
5.
Out of 5, I'd say 4.
Okay.
I think it's definitely I have very few problems with it. I enjoyed almost all of it, and I really enjoyed this movie. So, what can I say?
All right. What about you, Jilly?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I was expecting somewhere around a 2.53, but my expectations were exceeded, and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the action, enjoyed the humor. Of course, it has a little bit of problems, but overall, it was a good movie.
Boy.
5.
Should have expected that when you said it's like one of your favorite Marvel movies.
It is.
That's cool. Now I feel like I'm lowballing it because I'm giving it a 3. We can do points, so 3.5 is what I would give it out of 5. I really like it. I don't have any major problems with it. It's a really good entry into the Marvel Universe, and I do like it a lot, but there's just a couple problems to me that really hold it back from, for it being, one of my favorite all-time Marvel movies. It's definitely an enjoyable film, though, and I really recommend everyone who hasn't seen it yet, and if you're watching this, why haven't you seen it yet, to go see that movie, because it is definitely worth the price of admission. Any closing statements?
I've just got one thing. It didn't really fit into anything. I feel like Janet might have something in Doctor Strange, just because they've talked about dimensions being explored.
They did possibly tease that she could come back at any time they needed her, because Scott was able to come back from that super small world. So
Also, I've seen the film twice. I didn't notice this either time. But apparently, in the quantum realm, you can see the character Eternity.
I heard that.
I saw. I've seen it twice. The second time I noticed him because I was looking for him. It's literally like it's got to be in like 3 frames of the movie. You see a flash of a guy, like a big black cloaked type guy, as Scott's like going through all the different levels. You do see a flash of him.
I really wish I had saw that.
I really wish I would have flashed Michael Jackson or something for a frame.
That's where he went.
Jilly, any closing statements?
No. Other than I do think it's worth seeing in the theaters for full price. Very good movie.
Don't let our
disappoint with this one.
All right, cool. Well, that has been the Comic Couch Review. We were talking about Ant-Man today. Hope everyone enjoyed listening to us babble on about it. We will see you guys next time.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.